public health services. So in the second stage, my dear friends, what happened? Because there was a lot of research going on in the health sector, awareness came and people started using the medicine of vaccination and so on. So what happened? The mortality rate has been declined. So as the population size or the birth rate being constant and the death rate coming down slowly, what happened? The size of population has been increased. So we call this stage, the second stage, as the early expanding stage. Then we have the third stage, we call it as late expanding stage. In this stage, the birth as well as the death rates are both at low level but under control. The growth rate of population is slower than that in the second stage. It is, however, higher than the death rate. So obviously what happens? It is also going to increase the size of population. As the days have passed on, as the awareness started increasing, people started giving birth to less people. For example, you see, if you see during early 60s and 70s, most of the couples at the time, they have given birth to more children, thinking that because of pandemics or because of health issues, if some children die or expire, there'll be some or the other children to take care of them when they grow older. My great granny has given birth to 11, almost 11 people, because there were only four boys. They thought that at least there must be one or two boys left over when they grow older to take care of their activities. At the same time, they will do the cremation activity. As they was stable in terms of life, and as the mortality rate has come down because of advancement in science and technology, nothing but medicine, and when people started understanding the changes, they started giving birth to less children, my dear friends. So in the third stage, the birth rate has come down, even the death rate has come down, but the growth rate of population is slower than the second stage. It is, however, higher than the death rate, my dear friends. Then coming to the fourth stage, my dear friends, we call this stage as low stationary stage. In this stage, both the birth rate and the death rate are at a low level but under control. The growth rate of population is stationary. Countries in this stage of population growth desired level of economic development marked by an increase in incomes of the people and improvement in the literary levels and full employment. 14% of the world population is in this stationary group up to 1930s. Only 14% of the world population was in this stationary stage, my dear friends. And coming to the last stage, fifth stage, we call this as the diminishing stage. In this stage, the population growth was declining with the low mortality, low neonatal deaths. Deaths are exceeding the births. Deaths are increasing the birth. That means the population is coming down in those countries, my dear friends. So Blecker has said that the population development will take through these five different stages, my dear friends. Now, let us see the demographical transition, which is divided into roughly three stages, my dear friends. The first stage, we also refer it as pre-transitional stage. In this stage takes place in pre-industrial societies. In this stage, there is a high growth potential as both birth and death rates are very high. The death rates are high on account of poor diet, primitive sanitation, absence of effective medical aid, and so on. Birth rates were also high as a consequence of widespread prevalence of illiteracy, absence of knowledge about family planning techniques, early age at marriage, and deep-rooted social beliefs and customs about the size of family, attitude towards children, and so on. High fertility was desirable in order to replace the loss from infant and child mortality. That's the reason. That's the reason why in this stage both the birth rate as well as the death rate was higher, my dear friends. Coming to the second stage, we also call this as the transitional stage, which took place in the modern societies. In this stage, the birth rates remain high, but the death rates have come down rapidly, my dear friends. This has accelerated the growth of population. The high growth potential is a um, the high growth potential is just because of improvements in diet, transport system, uninterrupted supply of food or regular supply of food, development of sewage system, supply of safe drinking water, recognition of personal hygiene, and so on. It has helped in decreasing the incidence of infectious diseases. So obviously, the mortality rate has come down, my dear friends, whereas the birth rate was higher, which has increased the size of population. Coming to the third stage, my dear friends, we call this or refer this stage as post-transitional stage. We find this in the so-called modern societies. The growth of industrialization, migration of population from the rural to the urban communities, increased urbanization, and so on has helped in decreasing both the birth rate as well as the death rate, my dear friends. This stage is characterized by low birth rates, low death rates, small family size, and low growth of population of slow growth rate of population. At this point in the year 1940s, the demographical transition presented merely a picture of demographical change. But each and every country studied seemed to be fit into this picture, as it seems as though some new universal law of population growth and evolutionary scheme was developed. Between 1940s to 1960s, rapid population growth became a worldwide concern, and demographers devoted their attention to this theory so that they can find the historical uniqueness of this demographical transition. And they have hosted an alternative for this, the vital revolution, the demographical revolution, the population explosion, and so on. As the pattern of change took shape, attempts were made to explain the theories. The demographical transition moved from a mere description of events to a demographic perspective. These perspectives try to explain about how to take care of people, and the population will take care of itself of development in the best contraceptive way. Projections of future population trends denote that demographic transaction in various countries. It is projected that the world population is going to become 9.2 billion by 2050, by the year 2050. That means it is going to increase, it represents an increase of 2.7 billion over the population which was there in the year 2005. Like right now, by 2005, we have 6.5 billion population, which is going to become 9.2 billion by the year 2050. Nearly all of this future growth will occur in the south. For example, Africa, Asia, excluding Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and some countries like Latin America, where the population size is projected to increase from 5.3 to 7.9 billion between 2005 to 2050, my dear friends. In contrast, in the north, for example, Europe, Northern America, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the population size is forecast to remain the same, my dear friends. It is going to slowly increase from 1.22 billion to 1.25 billion between 2005 to 2050. The difference in trends between these two world regions reflect the later stage of the transition in the north compared with the south, my dear friends. The demographical transition in Africa, Asia, and Latin America started later and are still underway. In 2005, the population in Asia was 3.94 billion, more than half of the world total population, and it's expected to grow by 34% to 5.27 billion by 2050. Africa, with 0.92 billion inhabitants in 2005, is likely to experience the most rapid relative expansion by doubling it to 2 billion by 2050, my dear friends. By 2050, the ranking is expected to have shift substantially. Already, you must have seen that India has surpassed China. India has become the most populated nation on this planet, China, followed by China. And we also have Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo. All these are also going to come in the top 10 nations which are going to have more population, my dear friends. So in these countries, especially the sub-Saharan Africa, where the HIV or AIDS has spread like anything, and you must have also seen that the death rate has increased like anything, controlling the population